What's up, guys, and welcome to my first episode of What If Countries Formed an Empire. And in this episode, we're actually going to see Angola form an empire. So let's jump on right into it. So, first thing we see Angola doing is actually invading this country right over here. Either Zambia or Zambia or Zimbabwe. I get them confused all the time, but it's fine. So they're going to start a push from like somewhere over here. So let's go and see that. So in this scenario, Angola is going to be super buff and they're going to buffed up a lot, but they're going to be invading from this area. My bad for doing this. But tolerance, my bad. Adjust that real quick. But here we go. They're going to be invading like so. And they're just going to be pushing along here, pushing along their front line too. And they're not going to invade much further into here. And then Mozambique's actually going to get involved and just snatch up a little bit of land. They ain't going to snatch up much, but they are going to snatch up a little bit of land, cutting off this country. And Angola's just going to get all this land over here. And Mozambique's going to get all this land over here. So let's go ahead and see the peace treaty. Now, this is going to be the peace treaty. Here we see major changes between not Namibia, but Mozambique and Angola. And we actually see Mozambique and Angola becoming allies. Now, I don't like these borders one bit, especially between Angola and Namibia. I just hate this panhandle. So, you know what we're going to do to fix it? We're going to actually destroy Namibia. So let's go ahead and look at this war. Alright, so here we see Angola declaring war on Namibia, and Mozambique's also going to be sending troops in here and just pushing back and circling all of here, pushing up against that Botswana border and pushing it up against the coast with Namibia having a very weak military, and they're actually going to spearhead across here with lots of naval superiority here, and they're just going to push and push and push until almost all of Namibia is cut off from the sea, and then Namibia is gone, and let's go ahead and assemble a peace treaty. So here we see full annexation from Angola, and they're going to be so much more powerful than their ally. And right now, they're just going to be negotiating forms of an economic union between them and Mozambique. And they're going to form economic unions to go along with their alliance. And some countries are actually going to be a little scared of the alliance that they have. This includes the South African nations, and let's go ahead and build this alliance. So here we see Angola and Mozambique declaring war on Malawi and Zambia. So let's go ahead and see this war. So they're going to be colored this blue, and let's go ahead and simulate this, and let's get this going. So I'm pretty sure there's a river here, so Zimbabwe is actually going to cut off their land connected up to this river. So it's going to be a very slow push for the Angolans, and it's really not going to get nowhere, but they're going to push from here and just pushing in. They're going to try to get past the river, but they're not going to make much forces move across it. There's like a bridge here or something. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure they would have destroyed all connections past the river, so it would be really hard to send supplies. But other than that, I'm pretty sure there's no rivers over here, so Mozambique would be rolling this place over, and they're also going to roll over Malawi, and that's my tolerance issue again. But here we go. They're just going to push up in here, capitulating the whole country, and they're going to help Angola out a little bit, but not before Angolan troops arrive through Air Force landings and paratrooper landings, and the river's so much easier to cross now. And they're just going to surrender, And let's go ahead and look at this peace treaty. Here we see these two countries taking this little bit of land. After we see this peace treaty, we see a war breaking out between these two alliances. So let's go ahead and see the alliance war. Now, the alliance war is actually going to be started between the blue team just hating on the greatest empire of all time. So they're going to push into Namibia, welcomed in with welcoming arms and everything. Push into Zimbabwe and Zambian territory. Just welcomed with open arms because they don't want to be held under a dictator. Not dictator, but greatest empire anymore. I don't know why. But they're going to get wrecked. Mozambique's going to get wrecked too. But then we see them locking in and just destroying the blue team forces. Like, when I say they're destroying the blue team forces, like, they'd rather just go out themselves than fight this war anymore. And boom, they're gone. They're capitulating left and right, surrendering. And then the greatest empire, greatest alliance with the greatest empire of all time just rolls them over. And Angola is going to take so much land and everything. And let's see the peace treaty between the war of the great empires. This is going to be the peace treaty of the war between the greatest empire of all time and the Blue Team Alliance, the horrible alliance. Nobody liked them. And they actually fully annex all of South Africa, and then they unify with Mozambique too. And they're going to go to war with the Democratic Republic of Congo and take over all this land. And they're also going to unite up with their exclave over here. I forgot to color that in. But here we go, and let's go ahead and see this peace treaty after we see a little bit more invasions. So they're actually going to invade all of these areas. That's my bad. But they're going to invade all of these areas over here, and they're going to just completely roll over them. They're also going to invade Ethiopia, Cameroon, all these countries. And since they're so great, since they're the greatest empire of all time, they're absolutely just going to roll over all these nations. Now, instead of them having some pushback from this, everybody's just going to be like, alright, this is the greatest empire of all time. What are we supposed to do against this? How are we supposed to attack? So they're just going to take all this land, and let's go ahead and see a peace treaty. Alright, so this is going to be the peace treaty against all these African nations, and they're just the strongest empire of all time. What can I say? There's nothing more you can say to this. They're just the strongest empire of all time. So we see a few more African nations just joining because they're just the strongest. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of the strongest? And they have the best economy, best everything, best military. Like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of this? So they're just gonna take over that. And then the next very important not video, but scenario is they're going to colonize Portugal. Cause one, Portugal colonized them. Like, why shouldn't they colonize Portugal back? Like, just, you get what you get. If you don't like being colonized, why colonize? You know? So they're just gonna invade and just roll over Portugal. They're just gonna be like, "What's up, bro? How you doing? Didn't you colonize us?" And they're just gonna walk into Lisbon. And the Portuguese are gonna be like, "Praise the Lord, we got such a nice ruler coming in." Because the Angolan Empire, just the best empire in the world. No blaming them. They're just the best empire in the world. Nothing you can do to stop it. And they're just gonna be like, hey, yeah, we're part of you now. And because because they did this, just Spain's just gonna give them a little bit of Galicia. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what this is. They're just gonna be like, yeah, just take this, man. You're such a good ruler. Nah, maybe you can take my whole country later. I don't even care at this point. What am I supposed to do against you in a war? Just best to be allies with you. And they're just gonna be like, alright, we get that. We get that. And just they colonized Portugal and Galicia. No big deal. And what we're gonna see here is nothing else really coming from this video. But they're just gonna go to war with just the entire world. No big deal. Just the entire. Now this is going to be the peace treaty because Angola is just the strongest country in the world and always will be. Largest empire ever. Just it's just gonna be like, why did we have to conquer one world when we can go to a brand new one? So let's go ahead and see what new world they conquer. And Angola's just gonna be like, what is this, bro? What are we in? And they're just gonna see the Angolans over here. And the Angolans over here are just gonna be like, what's up, Angola? Angola. Yeah. And they're just gonna be like, yeah, let's just take over the world, man. Taking over the world again. And they're just gonna take over the world. Just getting all the nuclear territory. Now, the help from Angola, just the best. The real Angola, just the best. Just gonna take over the world. Just casual Friday. Currently Friday for me. Pre-recording. But, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, man, it's just chill. Just taking over the world. Just absolutely just taking over the world. I mean, what else are they supposed to do? Just not take over the world. And then you're just gonna be like, alright, yeah, down here. And then just gonna take over the world. Nothing big to it. They do it all the time. And just Angola just has all this again. Angola just in multiple worlds. Do check out this Wixo. Best Wixo ever. What if civilization started in a nuclear fallout? But that will be it for today. Very realistic scenario. I hope y'all enjoy it. Comment what you want the next what if country formed an empire video. Now that would be great. Great series. But I want to go ahead and show y'all a map that I'm going to be doing for it. So ADIS Pro did a map like this, and this is just going to be how we're going to keep track of what countries formed an empire and what countries didn't. So as the very first and very best country that formed an empire, Angola, they're just going to be colored in like this, and this is just going to be the very start of this best country in the world. What can I say? Angola just formed an empire. You got the flag in my background and everything. Best country in the world, no doubt. And this is going to be the end of this video, so I hope y'all have a good day and goodbye.